the Most High, coming to you with another Reverend Friday. Straighten this out a little bit. To y'all with another Reverend Friday. When you recall, Halal Yahweh Bahashem, Mashiach Yahweh Shah. Hallelujah Yahweh. So to you heard Benaniyah Sharala. It's the humble servant of the Lord to do the Lord's work, man. Shalom to all my brews on the highways and byways. Right? All my brews working in this captivity. Y'all hit that like button as y'all come on in. Y'all hit that like button as y'all come on in. They said they got like something called a strawberry moon. It's getting ready to come through. Got all types of stuff going on. Right? Pray everybody been having a blessed week. Right? Try to give everybody a little bit of time to come on in. Fair use only on anything that y'all may try to use, even if we're using as an example. Fair use only. Right? Seeing a lot of these phone companies having data breaches. They trying to pay people out little checks here and there. You go $50. We know we lost your information and stuff. My bad. You go $50. He go a little bit. He go a little change. There you go. Even though your information all over everywhere. Sorry. Right? No matter if you got Siri, no matter if you got Google, no matter who you got, a lot of these data breaches, because you got to remember who we getting it from. Shalom, shalom, Aqua family. Good to see you, sis. Rakatha, you and the family. Right? It's a lot of things going on, right? Trying to say, old boy Elon Musk having issues. Shalom, Aqua Barbie. Good to see you, sis. Right? They're trying to good to see you as well. Trying to say them boys got issues and stuff. It's just more distractions, right? No different than when they give us something like the P. Diddy stories or all this other stuff, right? I don't know if y'all been noticing, a lot of y'all probably don't follow boxing, but they got that dude over there who's like a sheik or something like that, and he's pretty much getting them to box over there for him. He's like, I'll pay you whatever. You just come over here and box for me. You know, because over here, I guess they have promoters or whoever to try and decide how the payout gonna go. He don't care nothing about that. That he's like, I just want to see Israelites box each other again. I want to see them fight to the death. It's no different than that scene in Candyland on Django. You just want to see them fight to the death. You injure it's okay. We give you a little extra, right? A lot of these stores calling recalls, right? Oh, go to Whole Food. They got better food. Recall on meats and all types of stuff at Whole Foods. So if you got those issues, the same issues you have at regular grocery stores going on at Whole Foods, really it don't matter where you get your food from, right? They just tell Edomites, hey, come on over to Whole Foods. And a lot of ninjas over there, right? And a lot of people you don't want to see over there. We're going to tell you that the food's better, but you're still going to catch something. We're going to tell you that this is better. You're just going to pay more, right? You're paying more for convenience, but that's fine. right? Because no matter where you get that stuff from, guess what? The Most High is still going to have it go however which way he wants it to go, right? Man. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. I believe that's about 5 minutes. So usually try and give like a little 3 to 5 minute window for everybody to get in. Y'all hit that like button as y'all come on in, right? Like, share, subscribe. We're going to go ahead and get it rocking. And I got my secondary screen in case they try to freeze up the chat. On this week's class, right, I had like 2 titles. So I kind of tried to mix them together a little bit, right? The Lord's judgment ain't no laughing matter, right? The Lord's judgment ain't no laughing matter for the heathens or for the Israelites, the 2/3, or those having to get that work based on transgressions or, however it pleased the Lord, affliction season, right? But we have to understand one thing. No matter if you're an Israelite or a heathen, right? The Most High is going to be human in what he decides to do. Ain't nothing we can really feel or say about it. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. I'm going to start out with the first precept. Because I look at it like this. It's no different than, and I've been guilty of this, it's no different than you telling a child, quit running around before you fall. Quit running around. Quit doing that. And then they running. And then next thing you know, their feet get cluttered up together. And they do. And they over there crying. And guess what? You're going to laugh. Some of you be like, oh, he hurt us. Well, no. A lot of times you have to take that little bit of that laugh because a lot of times they're not hurt. They're just embarrassed. They're not. They got a hard head. So a lot of times they're not hurt like that. Unless you see blood coming out, unless they're not moving. That's the terms to be concerned. But you've already given warning, just like the Lord has given us warning repeatedly in regards to what will happen. Distinctively, complete, full detail, what will happen, right? Exactly. Yeah, but a lot of times they're crying because they're embarrassed. I watch babies fall all types of ways, right? And when you look at them in the eyes and say, hey, you all right? You okay? A lot of times they don't start crying. It's when you make that, oh, face like that, a lot of times they're embarrassed. And they get to crying because now they realize something happened and I might as well. Because a lot of times they don't be hurt. These children are built tough. These Israelite children are built tough. I know I felt all types of ways as a child, right? And it's the same thing now, right? When you bump your head, guess what? When you have your calamity because you didn't listen to the Lord, guess what he doing? He laughing. Don't believe he laughing? Let's find out. Let's get the first precept. The book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 26, right? Matter of fact, I'm going to start at 25 just to see how we got to that point. Oh, matter of fact, 24. I'm going to start at verse 24. The book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 24. Because I have called and ye refused, right? So he told us, hey, y'all stop. He's reaching out, right? He says, I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded. So he gave warning, right? He gave warning, right? It says, but ye have set at naught all my counsel. Stop running for your fall and hurt yourself. Stop sinning before I have to put this belt of judgment on you, this affliction on you, right? It says, but ye have set at naught, meaning you ain't care about none of it, right? It says, all my counsel and with none of my reproof. So even though he's given regard of what could happen and what will happen, right? It says, I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh, right? It says, when your fear cometh as desolation and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when the stress and anguish come upon you. So when you're going through some of your worst judgments from the Lord and it's self-inflicted, meaning that you've willfully sinned, you willfully went against the Lord's judgment of what he told you not to do, the warnings he's given based on example and commandment and statute, he's gonna laugh at you, right? Yeah. Well, the Lord is a a power of balance, right? He created good, he created evil, right? You can't tell me you as a parent has never laughed at, or if you are a parent, you've never laughed at your children do something when you told them to stop doing. Quit sitting back in that chair like that. Then they go tumbling over, right? They okay. They just embarrassed. They're crying because you were right. A lot of times we cry because we know that we know that was judgment. We know where that affliction came from. When you know that you're about to get a whooping and you see them go get that belt out, you start to tear up. Your voice gets a little crackly, right? Because you know that it's coming. So again, the Bible doesn't contradict itself. It actually coincides with one another. The Most High is showing, look, I'm going to go all the way to the extreme against those who have gone against you, even though I made them go against you. But when you do things willfully, even though I've called out to you, I told you not to do it, this, that, and the other, and now the calamity's on you, I'm going to laugh at you. I'm going to laugh at you, right? Because that's where the Lord gets to the point of he has to keep that same energy, just like you did. He has to keep it, right? He says, I take no pleasure in the downfall of the wicked, right? Because at the end of the day, when it comes to his children, he doesn't take pleasure having to kill you. That's why there's scriptures saying don't die before your time based on what you're doing, right? But again, he's showing that the Most High has a sense of humor. He does. He has a sense of humor as well because, again, he's a power of balance. He doesn't like a unjust balance. So the same thing make you laugh, make you cry. It's on the same spectrum. Our thoughts are not the thoughts of the Most High. So if I know that I've done something that is complete requirement for judgment and it comes, I gotta know, okay, I'm praying. The Lord gonna be like, sure, what was these prayers the other day when you knew not to do it? You see what I'm saying? So when parents laugh, it's not an emerald laugh, but I told you so laugh. Yeah. Yes. That's exactly what it is. You're laughing at their calamity no different than the Most High laughs at our calamity. We told you quit running, but now you're running, you done fall and tumble through some boxes. You're not hurt, you're not bleeding, right? You're embarrassed. You want to cry because of your embarrassment, but guess what? We laughing. Hey, come over here. I told you quit running around. I told you. That's what you get. That's what you get. That's what you get. You see what I'm saying? We got to look at the Most High. It's no laughing matter when it comes to his judgment. It's no laughing matter. He can laugh at us, but that judgment, when it come down that pipe, it ain't no kind of laughing matter about it. Let's stack it up with a precept. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon 12 and 25, right? And let's see here. I'm going to start at verse 24. It says, for they went astray very far in the ways of error. So again, here we go, right? Here we go. Again, us not listening, right? These are the reasons why the Lord's judgment isn't a laughing matter. He told us what to do. We didn't do it, what we expect to happen, right? It says, for they went astray very far in the ways of error and held them for gods, which even among the beasts of their enemies were despised, being deceived as children of no understanding, right? Therefore, unto them as children without the use of reason, thou didst send a judgment to mock them. right? So we didn't use the wisdom, knowledge, and discernment, the understanding that we're supposed to pray for, right? We didn't use that. So we were acting like children, not listening. And then when calamity come, now it's you want to stick out your arms and run to your parent. No, keep that same disobedient energy. Keep that. Because you have to realize, hey, I did something wrong. And what do the parents say? I bet you won't do that again, will you? Right? We see our children running with scissors. Hey, we got to stop that. They could fall and hurt themselves tremendously. That won't be a laughing matter, right? And I don't think any parent's going to sit there and watch a 2 or 3-year-old run around with some scissors in their hand or something sharp in their hand or anything in their hand, because children are clumsy, right? They're going to fall over things. This is how we know that at the end of the day, the Most High had to give us grace and mercy. If He expects us to come back as children, we're going to be clumsy with the law as we grow. And we have to learn from that. I bet you won't do that no more. Remember that judgment? Remember that whooping that the Lord put on you? I bet you won't do that again. And this is how we learn from that and grow from that, right? Because we have to, right? And you get some children that don't learn from the whooping, so the whooping's got to get worse. The judgment has to get worse. That's why things happen. You say, wow, how could that happen to them? Guess what? It wasn't listening. The Lord had to make a bigger example of the situation, right? Had to make a bigger example of the situation. Because He said, look, He says, therefore, unto them as children without the use of reason, thou didst send a judgment to mock them. Yes, those judgments are going out to mock because you didn't want to listen. Now I'm going to, I bet y'all won't do that no more. Meet the Assyrians. Oh, I bet y'all won't do that no more. Meet the Persian and Medes, right? Meet the Egyptians. Meet the Romans. I bet y'all won't try that again, right? Oh, okay. You women want to get out here and be proud? Guess I'm taking the food stamps back. I'm taking the assistance. I'm doing this. You're going to learn to be obedient to me, because clearly it's getting out of control. The Most High has to restore balance, because a lot of the things that our people are given, right? Our women, hey, $800 of food stamps with 3 people in the house, you and 2 children. That's a lot. If that woman isn't balanced and in the Lord, she's going to take that as well. I'm getting child support out to daddies. I'm getting this. I ain't got to work. I ain't got to better myself. I don't have to show myself to be approved, right? I don't have to do that. Exactly. Smoking that cigarette, that Black and Mild, and that cherry fall off in the car and tear your thighs up. Burn a hole in your seat. You all over the road, right? Shouldn't have been smoking in the first place. Lord said, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you better than I can tell you, right? And He's going to mock them in their calamity, right? He's going to mock them in their calamity. But again, we have to understand why we're getting mocked. Why we're getting mocked. A lot of our sisters out here and brothers, but I'm going to start with the sisters because they're more visible online, out here saying what they're going to do, what they don't need, things of that nature. They don't even consider, right? They don't even consider how the Lord is looking at that. It's no different than if you saw your daughter online, she done went viral, talking straight trash about her parents, her brother, her parent, the whole situation is all online saying that, right? You're going to be like, I know good and well she's not on here saying all of this stuff. And you're going to have some kind of way to feel about it. Now, when they start to ridicule her, when they start to mock and scoff against her for saying that, now you're like, well, Mama, they keep bullying me online. That's what you get. You shouldn't have been on there in the first place. Nobody told you to get on there and tell all your business. But guess what? A lot of these women do. And then they're upset when they get the ridicule and they get the, oh, remember, we don't need it. We don't need men. A lot of women were saying that. Unfortunately, that's now come back to bite them. That's now come, I don't want this kind of man that has a regular 9-to-5 job. Then women just kept up with it. I need a man to make a certain amount. Then they start to pop the balloon thing. All of this stuff is more destruction to the Black family. It's more destruction. Baba Kushah, hit that like, share, subscribe as y'all come on in. Double tap that screen. right? We have to know that the Lord has to look at this and say, man, I can't believe, I know good and well they not getting out here just straight sinning like that. I know good and well they not on there doing this and that, right? But what about not having a person to talk to? And that's the problem. They get right online and do it. It ain't about having someone to talk to. This is the reason why the Lord said they're going to seek me early. A lot of times you try to come to them with the Bible. I don't want to hear that. I don't want that. You're not rejecting me. You're rejecting the Lord. So guess what? He's going to turn you over to your own delusion. He's going to allow that spirit that says, let me just make them get out here and tell all their business and watch it backfire after 2 or 3 videos. Right? You get out here and you say, well, I'm a single mom. It's tough for me. I'm going through this, that, and the third, right? But yet a couple of videos before, it's Hot Girl Summer. A couple of videos before, look at my new Louis Vuitton bag and shoes. We're out. We turned up. We lit. We going shot for shot for shot for shot. But now 3 videos later, you're a single mom. You got your babies in your hand and stuff like that. Y'all need help. Bro, nobody's trying to help that. They're not, because they're going to look at all your videos and see, well, you've been having this good little run. You weren't saving your money. You wasn't using wisdom. No different than a dude getting up here saying, hey, look at all my shoes. Look at my brand new car. I put rims on it. I put this in. I customized it. I did all of these things. 2 videos later, yeah, I need to GoFundMe for me and my family. You know, me and my children and stuff like that. We don't got nowhere to go. But you just showed me we outside. We lit. We turned up, how the new generation say. Then they turn around with these GoFundMe because they know that a lot of people are ignorant to have what's considered a bleeding heart, right? And unfortunately, a lot of our women are doing these front screen camera cries. Exactly what they're doing. They get on here crying and, oh, this happened, this, that. It's none of your business, right? We need more parents and grandparents that will say, hey, you don't tell all your business. You don't want to talk to the elders in your family because you feel like they don't know what you're going through. Yeah, because they never did that foolishness. And when you get that rebuke from them telling you that you shouldn't be doing it, oh, you can't tell me what to do. Okay, no problem. No problem at all. That's going to be the same issue, right? That's going to be the same issue. Psalms 37:13. It says, but the Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth his day coming. Right? Like people say, your day coming, watch, you going to get yours. The Lord's going to laugh. You're like, but you think I'm joking about this, right? You think I'm joking about this. Come over to Malachi, right? Let's go over to Malachi. Malachi 4:1. It says, because you got to think about it. The Lord's laughing because he sees the day that's coming. He sees the judgment that he's constructing for you. He has that wicked spirit that's to his left saying, let me do X, Y, Z to him. Let me do this. And the Lord's like, you don't even know what can go wrong, right? You don't even know about that. It could be just altogether. A lot of people throw pity parties online now. That's what they do. A lot of times they know that they're a single parent. One day their child's going to see how they was out there just saying a bunch of crazy stuff. What is that going? That's going to take the integrity out of their house. A lot of times the women and the men, it's a double-sided coin. But the thing is men initiate marriage. Women are able to initiate sex. A man can't initiate sex, or it turns into a violation of the woman, right? But a woman can decide, I'm going to lay with him, right? I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So if she does that, not venting that's why the scriptures say, prove ye a friend. These, while we're given straight commandments, but when you're like, I don't have time for the Lord, you're going to be turned into a casualty. You're going to be turned into that single parent scenario. You are. It's going to happen because, again, if the Most High is like, look, I told you to do this, all of these traditions and ways to avoid that problem of becoming a single parent household is right here in my book that I've given to you, that I've given you plenty of opportunity from a child all the way up until you're able to make a responsible decision to utilize, and you choose not to do it. I'm going to laugh at your calamity. You're going to be a byword. That byword is single mom. There's single dads out there, but guess what? They're not making videos. You don't get single dads out there crying into the camera, oh, my wife left me, this, that, whatever. Men don't have that kind of luxury, right? A woman can go and say, hey, it's me and my 2 kids, and be able to sleep on someone's couch because they take pity on the children. If a man comes to that situation, they can say, man, you're a grown man. You got to get out the mud. I can't do nothing for you. Sorry. Even if you have children, it's a different standard, right? So the Lord's laughing at that single parent because he's like, I didn't tell you to do that. I told you to be a chaste virgin. I told you not to go out here and do unlawful things, and these are the consequences. You're lucky I didn't give you a disease. Shalom. Because a man is a provider, but one of the main things a man is supposed to be able to provide is wisdom in his household, understanding. So if I'm courting a woman, right, and I use me and my rib for an example, I just found out I was an Israelite when me and my rib met, right? And we've been together for 10 years. It'll be 10 years this year, right? Was there ups and downs? Yes. Because the thing is she wasn't raised in the church. I was raised in the church. So I had a little bit of comprehension of the scriptures, right? Of the Bible. I had a fear of God in me. Even though it wasn't a large fear, I still understood that the Lord can bring judgment on you. I was still in sin. I was still smoking. I was still in the world, right? I told her, I said, look, if this is going to work, because we was bumping heads crazy. I said, if this is going to work, this is what I believe in. This is what I'm finna do. So if you want to be with me, it's either this way or we go our own way, right? And it's just as simple as that. So she had to make a conscious decision. Well, if I love him like I say I love him, or if I want to be with him like I say I want to be with him, then I'm going to have to make that change, right? And until we understand and come back to the law, statutes, and commandments, it's going to be single mothers, fathers on child support, broken household, children that are trying to play the middle. Well, daddy let me do this at his house. This ain't your daddy's house. Why don't you go live with him? And you know, good and well, once that child says, I want to do that, and that child support stops for a lot of women who don't have a contingency plan for that, it's going to create an issue. Because we see the videos every day. Is that every woman? No. Some women did get caught up in a situation where they thought they were in love. They thought the guy was going to do good by them. He didn't. Those situations happen. But again, the Lord is like, I told you to do this though. Right? No different than, hey, you meet a girl, you think you're in love, she clear out your whole bank account. She run your credit through the roof, disappear into the night. You never see her again. That dude didn't invent that woman. That can actually happen. Right? See you, Brother Shemak. So it can happen either way. The Lord's judgment isn't a laughing matter. It's not. Because we got to look at how this plays out. Malachi 4:1. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven. People are not thinking about that day that's coming that's going to burn as an oven. They're not thinking about that. They're not thinking about that at all. Right? It says, in all of the proud, you taking all types of videos. You all on the social media. You got all the mouth in the world. You don't need a man, right? I ain't gotta love these women. I can go from woman to woman, to woman to woman, to woman to woman. Now you wonder why you can't find a good woman, right? Because the Lord gave you that opportunity. He may give you that opportunity 3 times in a row. But you blew that trying to be somebody online that you were not as a man. That's that foolishness. This is why there's a venting process. This is the reason why parents had to get involved with how things were done, right? Had to get involved. I don't know why my nose is itching on the top. That's crazy. It'll never itch. When I be doing class, top of my nose itching. That's so strange, right? But maybe it's not strange at all. Man, I tell you what, the Lord's judgment isn't a laughing matter. If you come here to scoff, make jokes, just prepare for what comes down the line. You won't have to worry about if Woolworths is open, right? You got to still hope that you're open. You got to hope that your candle isn't blown out for playing. A lot of times it ain't the time to play, but a lot of people find out the hard way that the Most High's judgment isn't a laughing matter, right? Again, it says, for behold, and this is Malachi 4:1. It says, for behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly, right, shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch, right? And that judgment is the fire, right? Quick question, isn't it okay to celebrate college graduation? I just went to my daughter's high school graduation, right? Like maybe 2 Sabbaths ago. And I felt, my wife said, what's wrong? I said, because this is the Lord's day. You see what I'm saying? I was like, I was just kind of aggravated that Esau couldn't put it on another day. It just had to be a Saturday, right? But I wasn't buying or selling, but I still felt a sense of guilt knowing that I was there and I wasn't congregating with my congregation and I was there, right? And I felt some kind of way because at the end of the day, they can be like, well, you know, the Lord understands, he forgives, he gives mercy and stuff like that. But I couldn't imagine Christ coming back and I'm sitting in there in the middle of graduation. And they might be like, well, you know, you don't want to be holier than thou and this, that, yeah. Christ coming back, he going to be pissed off, bro. I don't know what he not trying to hear or what he trying to hear. You see what I'm saying? I'd rather him come back while I'm sitting in the congregation, I'm in my Bible, I'm taking notes, I'm paying attention, I'm interacting, and things of that nature. It says it's true, but my wife's is today. I'm in the clear. Okay. All praises. Right? They had us stand up and clap for the graduates as they came in, right? And then as they were doing so, they bust right into the Pledge of Allegiance. I said, boy, crafty counsel. I don't take no Pledge of Allegiance to any of that, right? They don't even take a real Pledge of Allegiance. They don't have an allegiance in regards to it. But that's why that day that's coming is going to burn. That's the reason why it has to burn and leave as stubble, right? Think about it. If we don't look at what the scriptures say, we're going to be in a situation where we caught up with the wicked. Jump down to verse 3. It says, and ye shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet. In the day that I shall do this, saith the Lord of hosts. And you can get that tread down the wicked in Baruch 4:25, right? He's letting you know that that day that's coming, right? That day that the Lord was laughing about in Psalms 37:13, right? He says, the Lord shall laugh, for he seeth that day is coming. That day that's coming is going to be fire and brimstone, wailing and gnashing of teeth. A lot of people aren't going to be ready for that, right? They're not ready for the small afflictions we get now. They're not ready for that. It's no different from when you're watching your brother or sister get a whooping, or you see someone get a whooping, they get that first lick. Wow. And they like this. And then they got shot. It just sent the shockwave through their body, right? You don't want the Lord in there doing that to you. You don't want to have to take that type of discipline. It's better to be obedient to the Lord than be disobedient and find out the Lord wasn't playing. His judgment's no laughing matter, right? Because the heathen and the wicked alike are going to be in the same energy. Go over to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 4 and verse 18. It says, they shall see him and despise him, right? When they see Christ come back and realize that he was a black man, they're going to hate that. Shalom, shalom, you cold. Good to see you, King, right? They're going to hate that. They shall see him and despise him. All the times we've been on the corner saying, hey, Christ is a black man, you guys are racist. Even though the Bible said, you guys are racist, right? They can't deal with the fact. And this shows their inner prejudice and inner racist, because if it said that Christ was what they say he was, it wouldn't be a leg for us to stand on in regards to his description. It wouldn't even be a conversation, right? And if we were out here painting a black Christ and the scripture said that he wasn't black, then that would create the same contention that we have telling them, hey, that's something that was done by Leonardo, right? Of Caesar Borgia, his boyfriend. He painted his boyfriend. They've made the movies, Da Vinci Code. They've made all these books saying Leonardo was dating Caesar Borgia and he painted a picture of him, and they utilized that as a depiction of Christ, right? They've already said it. So it ain't no news flash, fair use only, ain't no military secret to it, right? And that's the problem, because a lot of people don't believe in Christ. That's the main issue. They don't believe in Christ. They don't believe he's coming back. They believe that they have a special relationship with God, and that he's gonna go for their BS when they start with the crocodile tears. He's a God of love. That helps them sleep at night. They don't want to deal with the fact that he's coming back to destroy. He's coming back to delete people for not listening, right? There's no green-skinned people out here, bro. They're not. But again, they will say any kind of... So what, now Christ is an alien. He got a green screen. Now he's a crocodile, man. Come on, bro. They can't deal with the facts. Now it has to turn into olive. The Bible didn't say olive. He says brass, burnt, and a fire. But somehow you get a Caucasoid out of that. They can't make it make sense, right? He says, they shall see him and despise him, but God shall laugh them to scorn, because the Most High is going to be laughing when they finally see that Christ is coming back with that sword. He's not playing. He's angry, and he's a so-called Negro. That's going to be a problem. That's why I said they're going to see him and despise him, and God shall laugh. Because he's going to be like, I told y'all so. It's going to be a big I told you so, right? Laugh them to scorn. It says, and they shall hereafter be a vile carcass. Why would they be a vile carcass? Because he's coming back with a sword. He's coming back with warrior angels that ain't trying to play no games, ain't trying to hear none of that. They're coming back to do a full cleansing of this wicked, bloody planet. That they got to replay it in blood. They got to. That's why I said, see, these are the things that people want to ignore. It shows Christ coming from Basra, capital of Edom, his vesture dripping in blood. So why does it look like his vesture dripping? I tread the wine press along. Why are those scriptures there? Right? Because they'll tell you quickly, oh, they tamper with the Bible. They took the stuff out of the Bible. So why are those things in there? If that's the case, right? But see, this is the pride. Because guess what? The Most High puts on those spirits of those Edomite scholars that will get out and write a book saying that they are Edom. Book after book after book after book. The 13th tribe, Buddy wrote that book. They had to go ahead and delete him. They said, hey, you're doing too much. Somebody's going to read this and realize who we are and who they are. We can't have this. We got to get him out here because he knows too much. It's too late. The Lord put that spirit on him. He wrote it. He got deleted. All praises, right? All praises. He says, now, yeah. Shalom, King James Judah. Good to see you, right? The Lord said he's going to be laughing to scorn because there's a lot of our people who don't believe that Christ was a so-called Negro. They're going to get laughed to scorn too. They're going to despise it as well, because think about those grandmas. And you tell them that Christ was black. Not my Jesus. Look, the color don't matter. All the color don't matter, people. They're going to see him and despise him. But God shall laugh them to scorn. And they shall hereafter be a vile carcass and a reproach among the dead forevermore. They're going to be that reproach. They're going to be that reproach. They don't get it, right? So the Most High said, okay, y'all don't get it, right? So now let's get the examples of the Most High to show us, you want to end up like this person? You want some of this, right? Trust me. You want some of this? Oh man, just like got to kill off your old man. Just like Debo told him, you want some of this, old man? You gotta tell your old man, nope. Shalom, shalom. Adivah Yapa. My beautiful real. Let's go over to 1 Kings 21 and 23, right? Because Jezebel, right, her spirit jumps from a lot of our women. And so you have to be kind of mindful and patient with our women. But when you see it trying to sprout, even an inkling of a root, you got to get on it early, right? She had Naboth killed for that little vineyard. They killed him over a vineyard. She plagiarized the letter, right? And Elijah had to come and condemn both Ahab and Jezebel. But guess what? She didn't want to listen. She didn't want to listen. Neither did he. Because guess what? He was too busy trying to please his queen. He was too busy putting a woman before the Most High. And when you do that, guess what? You're going to get that judgment from above and below. You can't run from the Lord's judgment. You cannot get away. It's like Final Destination. You avoid the car crash. You get out the car, and then a car hits you. As soon as you get out. Hey, you can't get away from it, right? And we're going to see that today. That's what we're going into. 1 Kings 21:23, and it reads, right? And of Jezebel. Matter of fact, I'm going to start at 22. Let's see how serious this is, right? When Elijah had to come and explain the situation, because what she did was dead wrong. Naboth said, hey, I can't give you this vineyard. This is part of my inheritance. There's laws to say that we have to give that to our offspring. It has to stay in the tribes. I can't give you something, right? I can't give you something, right? That doesn't belong, because the Lord gave us straightforward commandments. This is how things stayed in order as the Most High required. Verse 22 says, I will make thy house like the house of Jerubbaal, the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha. We're going to get them. We're going to go see about them, the son of Ahiah, right? Because I guess they thought it was a joke, right? It's just provocation, wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger and made Israel to sin. So this was wicked people within Israel, right? Just like the scripture we just read, right? They're going to see him, right? And despise him, but God shall laugh, right? It says, verse 23, and of Jezebel also spake the Lord, saying, the dog shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel. Him that dieth of Ahab in the city, the dog shall eat. And him, and him that dieth in the field shall the fowls of the air eat, right? So like I said, that judgment, because I had two titles for the class, but I ended up going with a little bit of a combination of the both. All praise to the Most High, put down my spirit. Your judgment can come from above or it can come from below. The fowls of the air can get you, right? Or whatever's on land can get you, right? Shalom, shalom. See you, Malak David, right? So she already got her judgment, right? In regards to, she got her prophecy. Jump over to Jeremiah real quick, because we got to look at something. We got to stack this all up. Elijah tried to tell them, but they weren't trying to hear that. She had already did what she did. She was already deliciously proud about it, right? Jeremiah 16:4. It says, "They shall die of grievous deaths. They shall not be lamented." So they're gonna die. Nobody's gonna care. Nobody's coming to any kind of lament of it, like, "Oh, I can't believe that happened." They don't care, right? Neither shall they be buried, but they shall be as dung upon the face of the earth, right? And they shall be consumed by the sword and by the famine, and their carcasses shall be meat for the fowls of heaven and for the beasts of the earth. You're not even getting buried. They're gonna have a buffet on your body when it comes to the judgment. If you out there in the woods and you just drop dead, guess what? Them animals finna come and have some of that. They finna have some of you. They're gonna go and you're gonna be meat for the fowls of the heavens and for the beasts of the earth. We gotta get more. Let's get another example of that. Go over to 2 Kings 9. Go over to 2 Kings, the 9th chapter, and let's go to the 35th verse, right? Because when Elijah told Jezebel, Shalom, Aqua Genesis, when Elijah told Jezebel how she was going to die, she thought it was a joke. She was around there talking big trash. Oh, if I don't die today, then, I mean, she was out there on, trust me, if it was done in today's times, she would be on front screen camera, being proud and bold as a lot of these people are that get on here and get talking, right? She probably had a little bit of tears going. She would have been screaming and yelling and carrying on. Hey, threaten me. Can't believe that, right? But Jeremiah already said they're going to die grievous deaths and they're not going to be lamented. Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to even give two hoots about what's going on, right? They told Jezebel and Ahab, for what you did, you're going to be basically eaten by dogs. She like, eaten by dogs? This is crazy. I don't believe none of that. She didn't believe the report. She took God for a joke because guess what? It wasn't her God. She wasn't an Israelite woman, right? Jezebel wasn't an Israelite woman. She's a heathen woman. Ahab was the one that was the Israelite, and he was wicked as I don't know what, right? 2 Kings chapter 9. And we're going to get straight to the point. Go to 35, right? It says, and they went to bury her. Who we talking about? Jezebel. They went to bury her, but they found no more of her than the skull and the feet and the palms of her hands. Wherefore they came again and told him, and he said, this is the word of the Lord, which he spake by his servant Elijah the Tishbite, saying, in the portion of Jezreel shall dogs eat the flesh of Jezebel, and the carcass of Jezebel shall be as dung upon the face of the field in the portion of Jezreel, so that they shall not say, this is Jezebel, meaning unrecognizable, right? It wasn't no first 48 going out there trying to figure it out. Them dogs and them birds, they had them a breakfast buffet, but it was more dogs than birds. They was having their way out there, man. Eating that wicked woman. She's out of there. She became the meat of the earth when those eunuchs pushed her out the window. When dude pulled up and said, hey, who's down with me? And she looking out the window with her makeup on, trying to get him, probably took her a couple selfies. Well, back then they ain't had no selfies. You just had to look in the mirror for a long time. And she thought she was going to be able to woo this dude after knowing she had did wickedly, right? Mind you, she got a husband the whole time. So she ready to commit some adultery if she got to. And so the Lord said, enough of that. Headlong. Hit that ground, bro. She was out of there. And Buddy ran her over in the chariot. That's what made it even more funny. He done ran her over with the big 26-inch wheels on the chariot. Then went inside and had a whole banquet. Like ain't nothing happened, right? That's what she deserved. That's why it said in Jeremiah 16:4, they shall die grievous death. You get pushed out of a 4-story window. You get pushed out. You didn't fall out. You get pushed out. You going head first because you're not prepared for that. And you hit the side of like I wouldn't say like a vineyard, but like a garden. Like, you know, that little concrete brick little thing that got the flowers in it. You hit that head on, bust your whole head up against the wall, right? Blood everywhere. And it says, should not be lamented. They went inside and had a banquet. They came outside and saw her, right? Bones. That's it. Her blood was sprinkled on the wall. The dogs had her. That's the thing. She thought she was going to paint her face, put on some makeup, right? And she thought she was going to basically look up and, will look down and be able to get the dude to go ahead and say, oh, yeah, she bad. I thought I was going to get her. Nah. He said, guess what? Who's with me? They threw her down, bro. And they already knew it. They was going to go bury her. And when they found, about time they got finished with the banquet, them dogs had already had them a banquet. They had them a banquet on her body, man. She's out of there. Meat of the earth. Meat of the earth. And them dogs ain't stick around. They found her skull. Do you know how rigorously you have to be eating to just find the skull? Right? And her feet and the palms of her hands. You know how much eating and going at it they got to be doing to actually get, there's no dress found. There's no limbs found. Nothing. Nothing. I don't know how many dollars it was, but boy, looky here. They had a family reunion on Jezebel, man. They had a family reunion going. So as that banquet was going inside, there was a banquet going outside, right? And guess what? We heard about the other ones that was going to get caught up too. Jump over, stay in the same chapter, go over to 14. Because see, this judgment of the Lord, it wasn't no laughing matter. They thought it was a joke. Oh, the dogs finna eat me? Whatever. You couldn't do a better threat than that? Oh, okay. Jump over to 1 Kings chapter 14. Right? So we got to look at it. Right now, in this situation, this was Jeroboam's time for judgment, right? We're going to go straight to it. The book of 2 Kings. Oh, wait, no, I'm in the wrong one. I'm supposed to be at 1 Kings. Salakia. 1 Kings 14 and 1. I was in the wrong spot. Salakia. But again, it's still with Jeroboam, as I was saying, right? He was trying to, let's just read it. The book of 1 Kings chapter 14 and 11, right? And I'm going to start at 10. Let's hear it all the way out. Therefore, behold, I will bring evil upon the house of Jeroboam, and I will cut off from Jeroboam him that pisseth against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Israel, and will take away the remnant of the house of Jeroboam, as a man taketh away dung, till it be all gone, right? And he's scooping them up out of there, right? Scooping them up out of there. Verse 11, him that dieth of Jeroboam in the city shall the dogs eat, and him that dieth in the field shall the fowls of the air eat. The Lord hath spoken it, right? The Lord has spoken it. The Lord wasn't playing. It was going to be another banquet of body. The Lord was like, y'all think it's a joke. This judgment had to go out like 3 or 4 times with the Lord's like, man, whoever them dogs were, they were eating good. Whoever them birds were, they was eating good. Buzzards, vultures, eagles, hawks, all of them out there just having at it. Whoever died, that's what you get. You died in the city, guess what? The dogs on you. Who let the dogs out? You die in the field, who let them birds out? Right? All on you. Stay in the same chapter, right? Because look, Basha, right? Wicked as I don't know what. Wicked as I don't know what, but guess what? He got the same treatment, right? Got the same treatment because he thought it was a joke, right? I'm going to start at verse 2 just to show you what he did. 1 Kings chapter 16, verse 2. For as much I exalted thee out of the dust and made thee prince over my people Israel, and thou hast walked in the way of Jeroboam. Jeroboam, boy, he thought, no, everybody that was down with Jeroboam finna get it. And has made my people Israel to sin, to provoke me to anger with their sins. So you gonna do this to provoke me? I got you, right? Just behold, I will take away the posterity of Basha and the posterity of his house, and will make thy house like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat. Him that dieth of Basha in the city shall the dogs eat. Them dogs finna eat again. These dogs are, these dogs had to be fat after this. And him that dieth of his in the fields shall the fowls of the air eat. Right? He told them straight up, them birds, I'm gonna let them birds out. I'm gonna let them dogs out, right? But this makes me think about something. Go over to Deuteronomy 28:16. Makes me think about something, all right? 28:16. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 16. It says, curse shall thou be in the city, and curse shall thou be in the field. They was cursed out there. Because guess what? You thought you was going to get away from what was going on with Jeroboam. No, we got to go down the line. Hey, guess what? Jezebel, you going to get eaten by the dogs, right? She was cursed in the city. Our people are cursed in the city now because the last I read about, which was those that died of Jeroboam and those that died of Basha, were so-called Israelites, right? They were cursed in the city and in the field. Now, we know that when we say that, that's cursing the jobs and the things that we have to do in captivity. But think about it. Let's say you have no idea what Basha's doing, and you live out in the field. You out in the field, and you just so happen to see your people die, and birds just swoop down on them. You're like, dang. Now you're not feeling so good. You getting dizzy. Them birds circling you, they following you to the house. You get to your house, there's vultures sitting on your house. They already know. You out of there, buddy. Might as well just fall out in the yard and let us have you. And we don't want to have to come in his house. But some birds are coming to the house, bro. Trust me. They was cursing the city and in the field. The Lord put that curse on them. Whoever dies in the city, you're going to be food for the dogs. You're going to be Purina, puppy child, right? Blue ribbon. And if you die in the field, guess what? You're going to be bird seed. You got like I said, you got all types of birds. They finna have you, right? They finna have you. The Most High is like, I know exactly what to do. He said their death's going to be grievous. Let's say you're not dead yet. And you got dogs nibbling all on you. In the neck, in the face. You feel all of that. That's a grievous death. Nobody's going to lament that. Ain't going to be nothing to really bury. They're not going to even know who it was, right? Garment ripped to shreds because you ain't listened to the Most High. His judgment is no kind of laughing matter. You can get it from above. You can get it from below. It don't matter how it go, right? Go over to, let's see here, Ezekiel. chapter 7. I want to make sure I didn't miss no precepts. Chapter 7, verse 15. Right? As Israel, we was doing some things we shouldn't have been doing. And the Most High is like, hey, guess what? I'm not going for it. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 7, verse 15. The sword is without, and the pestilence and the famine within. He that is in the field shall die with the sword. He that is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him. You can't get away from the Lord's judgment. It's no laughing matter. No matter if you, I'm going to flee. We're going back to Israel. You think that judgment ain't going to tear up over there? Oh, we're going to leave. We're going into the wilderness early. You don't think that judgment going to find its way out there to that wilderness? Huh? It don't matter. It's no matter what you in the city, guess what? You're going to have some kind of disease going. You get out there in the field, they're going to be out there with guns waiting on you. Right? You're going to get devoured for not doing thus say the Lord. That's why Sirach 7:1 is so pivotal. Right? It's so pivotal. I'm saying pivotal. Yeah. Sirach 7:1. Do no evil, so shall no harm come unto thee. It's that simple. But our people don't care. They don't believe the report. They think it's a joke. Quit running with those sins in your hand before the Lord trip you. And you fall, and he's going to laugh at your calamity. Right? He's going to laugh at your calamity. Oh, you on child support. You're only getting $32 off your check. He's laughing at your calamity. Oh, you're on child support, and guess what? They can't find a dude, so you're not really getting it. He's going to laugh at your calamity. Now you got to get a second job. Both of y'all. When y'all could have just stayed together and put y'all resources together and been a family. He didn't tell y'all to be a two-part family. Family A, family B. He didn't ask for that separation. You guys join together. You're supposed to stay together. But a lot of our people going to do how they want to do. You'll keep selling dope till you know that you either going to prison or you going to a pine box. You're going to prostitute till you go to prison or jail or you get a pine box or a prescription that you got to take forever, right? We got to look at what the Most High said he's going to do. You can get that judgment from the air, from the ground. The Most High said, I got so many different weapons. Y'all just don't even know. I have a war chamber full of different ways to do it. He has the best counsel of evil things that can happen to you and good things that can happen to you. Those spirits that's sitting on the left-hand side of the Lord, all they do all day is, I told you she wasn't going to keep the laws. Let me just go ahead and do it to her. They all day long, they saying that. The devil's pleading like a DA in a courtroom. This person's guilty. All day long, they're bringing your case file up. And the more sin that you add to that, the Lord's looking like, boy, you forcing my hand. I'm going to have to do something to you or one of your children or somebody you care about to get your attention to stop this, right? But they don't really look at it like that. That's why they said you're going to die no matter where you try to go or where you try to run from. The judgment of the Lord is going to be waiting on you. It's going to be waiting on you. Perched in a tree like a big old jaguar, ready to jump down. You're not faster than the jaguar, but you finna run till you down there have a heart attack and it's still going to snatch you right back up that tree. Because they bite force ain't playing around. Jeremiah 15. Let me get Jeremiah 15. Because these prophets are out here telling you what's going to happen, thus say the Lord. Now, you don't want to listen? He's going to laugh at your calamity. He ain't going to be trying to hear it. He's not. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 15, verse 3, says, I will appoint over them, right? 4 kinds, saith the Lord. The sword to slay, we know who the sword is, Esau, right? It says, and the dogs to tear, and the fowls of heaven, and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy. He already has a cleanup crew. He already has a demolition team to come in there. If you don't want to listen, if you don't want to do thus say the Lord's like, fine, I'm not getting off my throne, right? I'm not getting off my throne. Jump over to Ezekiel 14 and 21. Got a precept for that. Ezekiel 14 and 21. It says, for thus saith the Lord God, how much more when I send my 4 sore judgments upon Jerusalem, the sword and the famine and the noisome beasts and the pestilence that cut off from it man and beast, right? He's letting us know that for committing that idolatry during that time, you're going to get that judgment. It's not gonna go anywhere else. That's why he says he has that set up. Back to Jeremiah 15 and 3. I will appoint over them 4 kinds, saith the Lord, the sword to slay, and the dogs to tear, and the fowls of heaven, beasts of the earth to devour and to destroy. Right? As we got to look at it, go to Deuteronomy 28 and 26. Go to Deuteronomy 28 and 26. Right? What does it state? Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 26, right? It says, and the carcass shall be meat unto the fowls of the air. We were told of the curses. This is why I read curse in the field, curse in the city, right? It says, in Alison 16, it says, and thy carcass shall be meat unto all the fowls of the air and the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away, right? No man's going to come out and say, hey, get off him. Get off her. No, they're going to be like, hey, they should listen to the Lord. When you getting a whooping, right? Ain't nobody coming in that room. They don't want none of that. Your siblings ain't going to say, no, don't give him a beating, because guess what? Get over there. Stand right over there. You next. You're next. You want to co-sign this disobedience? Don't worry. I'm going to make sure next time you stand in the way of the disobedience. Trust me, right? Go over to Psalm 79 and 2. That goes right with this. It says, the dead bodies of thy servants have they given to be meat. Who's given to be meat, right? Jump up to verse 1. O God, the heathens are come into thy inheritance, the holy temple. They have defiled. They have laid Jerusalem to heaps. This was the sword that was being spoke of in Ezekiel 7 and 15. Right? This is what was being spoke about in Jeremiah 15 and 3. The 4 kinds, the sword to slay, the dogs to tear, the fowl of the heaven, and the beasts of the field to devour and destroy. We're reading about the sword right here, right? Oh God, the heathen are coming to thy inheritance. The holy temple have they defiled, and they laid Jerusalem on heaps. The dead bodies of thy servants have they given to be meat unto the fowls of the heaven, the flesh of thy saints unto the beasts of the earth, right? Their blood have they shed like water round about Jerusalem, and there was none to bury them, right? These scriptures and these warnings were there, talking about the gruesome deaths. No one there to lament, right? We were warned. If we're not going to listen, this is what's going to happen. Jeremiah 7 and 33. This is what happens when we don't listen, right? Nobody's going to fray them away when those fowls are open. And then nobody's going to go out and shoo, bird, get off. They're not going to do any of that, right? They're not. Jeremiah 7 and 33. And the carcasses of this people shall be meat for the fowls of heaven and for the beasts of the earth, and none shall fray them away. That's that precept that goes right there with Deuteronomy 28 and 26. It came to pass. It had to come to pass in prophecy. Where was Jeremiah quoting this from? He knew the curses. He's telling the people what's going on, right? Jeremiah had to go there and tell them what was going on. Because guess what? They were rejecting the Lord. They were being disobedient. They were doing thus say themselves. They weren't doing thus say the Lord. And guess what? Because they did that, they had to pay for it. Go over to Psalms 50. We got to pay for it. All right? You get caught shoplifting, yeah, they got to put your picture up in the store. You can't come in here no more. Your money's no good here. Right? You have to be made an example. The Lord had to make an example of the wicked and the righteous that turned wicked. Right? Psalms 50 and 11. It says, I know. Well, matter of fact, we're going to start at verse 10. It says, for every beast of the forest is mine. Lord letting you know something off rip. And the cattle upon 1,000 hills. I know all the fowls of the mountains. He said, I know all of them. He know all of those birds by name. They have their own individual name. The Lord is just that powerful. He is that demanding of excellency. Every fowl of the mountain knows the Lord individually, right? He says, I know all the fowls of the mountains, and the wild beasts of the fields are mine. All of that belongs to him. So if he want to send them over there to put in that work, they're going to go over there and put in that work, right? They're going to do that. Go back to Jeremiah 15. I get something else. I almost forgot that point that I was on there. Go back to Jeremiah 15. He's letting you know off rip, when these things happen, guess what? It's something that you sign up for, playing with the Lord, right? It's something that you sign up for when you're playing with the Lord. Did I go to the wrong precept? I'm gonna have to skip that one. It's not the book chapter verse, but I have it written. So I must have wrote that one down incorrectly, but it was a good one. It was a good one. I hate when I do that. I'll just read it though. It says, a lion out of the forest shall slay them, and a wolf of the evenings shall spoil them. A leopard shall watch over their cities. Everyone that goeth out thence shall be torn in pieces. He's letting them know, Shalom, Michael, you're not going to be able to get away. You're not going to be able to get away from the Lord when it happens, right? I must have put the wrong number next to it. It's lucky, right? But he's letting us know you're not getting away from your sin. These animals are already in league with the Lord. He knows all of them. So if he says, go do this, guess what? That animal's not going to look back like, you sure, Lord? You sure you want me to do it? It's going to be done. It's going to be done. It ain't going to be no kind of questioning, as our people sometimes like to try to question the Most High. He's not asking for that. We got first fruits coming up, right? The Lord has been more than long suffering and patience and tender mercy, right? He's given us plenty of joy and peace. What are we giving him for the first fruits? A reason to be eaten up by the beasts of the earth or the fowls of the air? What are we doing, right? What are we doing? Gotta ask yourself, man. Because the Most High is not one to play around with. He's not. He's not, because you're not going to be able to get away from the judgment. Because if he wants to get you, right, he going to get you. You can't get away from it. Amos 5:19, right? It says, as if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall and a serpent bit him. You can't get away from the Lord. It's fine. They made Final Destination, but you might as well say Yahweh the Power. It's the name of that movie. Because those heathens and those that wanted to be joined hand in hand, the token Negroes that was in the movies, right? All of them sipped from the same cup of destruction, and none of them could get away from it. None of them could, right? That's why it says, a lion out of the forest shall slay them. A wolf of the evening shall spoil them. A leopard shall watch over their cities. Everyone that goeth out of thence shall be torn to pieces. You can't get away. He got all the animals on deck. He got all the animals on deck, right? The Lord had Adam name them for a reason. So that way you know what was happening, right? Just like that lion that ate that prophet who didn't do what the Lord said do. And he listened to that other dude. And guess what? That lion ate him and just stood there and watched. He didn't do nothing else. He just killed them, and that was that, right? Those and our animals are in order with the Most High. If you out there worshiping that car, watching that car every day, doing this and that, guess what? The Lord gonna have the birds eat a feast and then come and finger paint your car. Every time you wash it, they're gonna be out there waiting. The Lord gonna put a spirit on them. You out here loving this car again? Blah 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 blah. Gonna give them all types of berries, blueberries and red berries. It's gonna be a plethora all over your car because you worshiping that. We can't play with the Lord, right? Because he said he's gonna laugh at your calamity. You hard out, sweating, you tired, you out of breath. And he's like, oh, you wash your car on the Sabbath? You're not worshiping me? I got a trick for you, buddy. You got to wash that thing again. And you ain't gonna like it, right? And you can't get away from the judgment. Oh, I'm gonna park it under the shelter. Them birds gonna fly right under that shelter and do the same thing. You're gonna put in your garage, it's gonna be a bird somehow that got in your garage, and he going all over it. All over the inside of it. But guess what? Our people think that they're smarter than the Most High. The Most High has already had things planned out. He knew how he was going to do this, right? He had to use more primitive scenarios. He's like, okay, I can bring the sword. I can bring the pestilence. I could. But imagine you telling somebody, boy, did you see what happened to so-and-so? Man, that leopard got all over him. He tried to run. He was screaming. That thing was tearing him up, boy. Snatched the back of his neck out. Boy, did you see what happened to sister? So, boy, that hawk came down, and it scratched her face up bad, bro. And then a vulture came down and with the peck in her hand, they just took her to the ground. Boy, it was, man, bad news travel fast. You don't think they're going to be like, hey, you know what? Let me do thus said the Lord, because you remember what happened to Jerubbaal people and Bashar people and Jezebel. You remember what happened with them. You remember what the Lord had to do over and hey, I'm not getting out here to sin. You go sin by yourself. I ain't with it, right? Sometimes it takes having that little bit of insight to say, hey, I'm not going to do that. Sirach 39 and 30, right? We got to think about it. Let me start at 29. The Most High already has a war chamber of ways to deal judgment out. He's no laughing matter. The judgments of the Lord is no laughing matter. Let's look at what he has on the menu for sinners, right? Sirach chapter 39, verse 29. Fire, burn your whole city down. California seen it, right? Hail, tear your car look like you got cellulite. Bust your windows out, right? The hailstorm. It's like you. Famine. Go in the store, ain't nothing on the shelf. How you gonna feed your family? You know they greedy, right? And death. All these were created for vengeance. Vengeance of who? Vengeance of the Lord. That's why he said vengeance is his. You can't create none of that. You can try and burn down the house of the Lord, just not a fire went out. Or an eye won't light, right? Verse 30. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. So as we looked at it, Amos 5:19, you got away from a lion, boy, you must be faster than a mud. Then you ran into a bear. You got away from the bear, went in the house, leaned on the wall, serpent bit you. Captain Jerubbaal sent me a video. It showed a Hamite in a tree, and the car door was open, and there was a big old lion standing right there by the car door, and he breathing hard. The lion looking at him, and as he look over, you see the head of a snake come out, just like that. And he look over at the snake look at him, ain't it? It's a wrap. You can't get away from that, because the Most High has created these things. The teeth of wild beasts, scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. The Lord has given those things as a way to destroy us, because we don't want to do thus say the Lord. We want to be hard-headed. We want to do thus say us as foolishness. But I want you to think about something. If you are staying in the spirit, if you're doing thus say the Lord, right? If you're doing thus say the Lord, I want you to hear something, right? I want you to hear something. Go over to the book of Luke, chapter 10, right? And we're going to hear it right out of Christ's mouth, right? Right out of Yahweh's mouth. This is right after Yahweh sent out 70 disciples, right? Laborers, right? The harvest is great, but the laborers are few. How many of us putting in that work for the Lord, man? First fruits coming up. The harvest is truly great, knowing that you're an Israelite. That's a great harvest, being able to keep the commandments and feast days. But who's going to really put that work in for the Lord, man? The laborers are few, right? Let's get down to it. Luke chapter 10, verse 19, it says, "Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you." Christ is giving the disciples and the followers of his Father's law the ability to deal with these things, right? If you're doing thus say the Lord, like Sirach 7:1, none of these things will come to you. Are there going to be days of affliction? Yes. Let's not confuse affliction with judgment, because sometimes the Lord has to get your attention, right? He has to get your attention sometimes. I'm going to get my final example here of how the Lord can get your attention, right? This is when Paul was on the island of Malta, right? The book of Acts, chapter 28, verse 3, right? "And when Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, there came a viper out of the heat and fastened on his hand." So a viper locked on Paul's hand, right? And when the barbarians saw the venomous beast hanging on his hand, they said amongst themselves, "No doubt this man is a murderer," right? Now they're assuming that this, right? No doubt this man is a murderer, whom though he had escaped the sea, yet vengeance suffereth not to live, right? Those people that saw when Paul had that shipwreck, right? They showed him a little bit of kindness, right? It was raining and it was cold. Paul said, "I'm going to make a fire out here." As he was making that fire, that venomous snake, that viper came out, locked on his hand. And they said, look, he's a murderer. He escaped through the sea, crashed his boat, shipwreck over here where we at. Yet vengeance suffereth him not to live. So they assumed it was a wrap for him at that point, right? What did Paul do? Verse 5. And he shook off the beast into the fire and felt no harm. Right? Howbeit, they looked when he should have swollen or fallen down dead suddenly. But after they had looked a great while and saw no harm, come look, he got bit by that big old snake. Oh, he got it there. You're a murderer. This is how a lot of our people do. This is how a lot of our people do. They have a good cheer for when someone's going through something. When affliction is on somebody, when somebody gets judgment, they're like, oh, look. Right? It says, they had looked a great while and saw no harm come to him. They changed their minds and said that he was a god. That shows right there, right? They called him a god. They didn't have the understanding to show that God already gave power to tread on scorpions and serpents through Christ, right? He gave that ability. A lot of times we're going to get bit by the vipers of life. Might be your family, might be your friend, might be situations that you get yourself caught up in. We have to make sure that we are in the company of the Lord at all times. Just like my class last week, you want to be in the regime of the Most High because his judgments are no laughing matter. As we read, numerous people got the same judgment. You could have got it by the sword, could have got some pestilence. No, it came from above. Them fowls pecking you to death. Got your eyeball. Oh, that has to hurt. Pecking your flesh with them razor sharp beaks. Now here comes some snakes coming over. Here comes some scorpions, some spiders. They just having a buffet. So they called that viper a beast, right? Because of the vengeance that snake could have caught. It probably was one of the most poisonous snakes on that island where they shipwrecked. They wasn't getting involved with that. All they did was like, look, he's gonna be dead. He ain't even getting swollen yet. Oh, he ain't fall down dead. He just shook the snake off in the fire, right? Because Paul had already gone through a lot. The Most already had him on a mission, right? He utilized that snake biting him as an example. They assumed that he was a murderer and he did something that he wasn't supposed to do. And for that, they went ahead and tried to write him a death sentence. People will try to do this in the truth. They're trying to write you off. Your family will try to write you off, right? We have to make sure that we keep steadfast in the Lord. Because when we don't keep steadfast in the Lord, you're going to run into the same problems over and over and over, right? You're going to run into the same problems year in, year out, season in, season out. But you have to be able to shake them things off and understand the power that the Lord is giving you if you are keeping the commandments and doing thus say the Lord. There's so much things that go into thus say the Lord, and a lot of our people know. And when you're not willing to do thus say the Lord, then you got to go ahead and take that actual judgment that comes with it. You got to. Because Most High is he's not a laughing matter. Neither is his judgment. It can come from above. It can come from below. You never know how that judgment of the Lord may be coming, right? You never know. And the problem is you got to acknowledge that. You got to take heed on that. I beg of you, my people. I want to see all my people in the kingdom, right? But again, if we're not doing thus say the Lord, it's going to be a problem. If we're out here doing thus say we, it's going to be a problem. Right? We have to be mindful of when spirits attack us. We have to be mindful of the judgment that can come down for our thoughts, our words, our deeds. Are you praying enough? Are you exalting the Lord enough? Are you doing what pleases him? Because we have to remember, brothers, sisters, whatever we do to one another, we're doing it to Christ first. We're doing it to him first. So if we want to be disrespectful to Christ, that's on you. I'm not going to say go right ahead. Nope, not going to even say that. I wouldn't do it. And I would pray that you don't do it either. Hit the battle axe to the Most High. We say keep the commandments, right? Say keep the commandments. Thank you. We thank you as a congregation for all the donations that may be provided through the monetary outlets that y'all use, Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, whatever you guys are using. Those actual alms are being utilized righteously. Go to the video. I'm not sure if they have a GoFundMe on the video for the mighty brother Daniel, right? To help out with his actual funeral services, right? You can go to that video. I believe it may be in the description. Reach out to leadership in regards to it. If you would like to provide a alms to the house of Daniel, mighty house, right? Both him and his family, his wife, Sister Mary Houston, have been prominent members of the congregation, even though they lived, as you say, traveled numerous times, right? Numerous times. Had fun at numerous feast days together, right? So make sure that when you actually do so, just put yourself in their shoes, right? Do that. I'm gonna go ahead and get a law, right? Let's see here. If we get a lot of the laws, we make sure we do every class. We say keep the law, right? Keep the law. Let's see here. All right. I'm going to go over to Exodus. All right. I'm going to go over to Exodus chapter 22. And I'm going to start at, I'm just going to go straight to verse 5. Going to Exodus 22 and 5 for the law of today's class, right? It says, if a man shall cause a field or vineyard to be eaten, and shall put in his beast, and shall feed in another man's field of the best of his own field, and of the best of his own vineyard shall he make restitution. So if you're out there allowing your beasts, and let's just put in today's term, if you're out here stealing from your brothers and sisters, no matter what kind of stealing you're trying to do, no matter what kind of stealing you're trying to do, you need to make good of your own restitution, man. You gotta make sure that you're not doing that. I'm gonna get another law. Jump down to 25, because we gotta love each other as a people much better than what we're doing, right? We got to. 25 reads as, if thou lend money to any of my people that is poor by thee. Thou shalt not be to him as a usurer, neither shalt thou lay upon him usury. If thou at all take thy neighbor's remnant to pledge, thou shalt deliver it unto him by that the sun go up down. You can't be out here, we can't be out here using one another. We can't be out here stealing from one another, because those two go in the same. You can't say you're going to give somebody stuff back. Oh, man, you coming at me about that little measly $100. It wasn't measly when you needed it. We got to look at that. There's laws that were put in place about theft and usury. The Most High expects us to be on point, because guess what? The judgment of the Lord is no laughing matter. I'm just a humble servant, Ehud Benaniyah of the Battle Axes of the Most High, coming to you with another Fervent Friday. Please have a blessed day of preparation, right? I pray that you were edified in this class as I was, because it makes me have to think of myself. I don't want no. Show your scripture to prove it. That's all you have to do. Just show your scripture. If I'm incorrect, then I'll stand corrected. Because again, we're not here to be proud or haughty in regards to things, right? But the thing is she was a heathen that knew the customs of the Israelites through her husband, Ahab, right? If you got a scripture showing that she was an Israelite woman, by all means, go ahead and post it. We'll be back on tonight. First Works Friday, all right? What is that? What did he post? An S? Posted an S. All right. Well, we'll be back on tonight. So be more than happy to post your scripture in regards to that. Right? But again, I'm just a humble servant, Soldier Ehud Benaniyah of the Battle Axes of the Most High, bidding you another Fervent Friday. Have a Barak day of preparation. Right? What do you mean? That's the problem right there. Okay, show where she's a heathen, right? Why are we doing this? Man. Always somebody waiting to the last day, right? So you're telling me that she was an Israelite woman. I asked you to prove it with a scripture. You're not giving me the scripture. Let your yea be yea and your nay be yea. I mean, your nay be nay. Because if I'm incorrect and I'm asking you to please give me the scripture to correct the situation, and then you're saying, show me she's a heathen, then what are we doing at that point? You see what I'm saying? We got to have just wait, just balance. All right. Now, if you're saying I don't believe that that's what she is, right? Then that's one thing. Right? Something here. But you always have to be prepared to give an actual answer. Because Jezebel, where was she keeping the laws? She was asking for murder. She knew that would be breaking the law, so why would she be doing that? That's the first thing you want to ask yourself. You get that. Matter of fact, I can get it. I'm going to go ahead and get it for you now, bro. It's not a problem. Just give me a moment. I'll go ahead and get it for you. Because I can't tell you what specific time they'll be coming on. I just know that we do Friday night class. we're going over to, it's just in there earlier. All right, so you go over to 1 Kings chapter 16, and because we have to look at the actual origin of Ahab, right? We got to go to verse 31. It says, and it came to pass, as if it had been light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jerubbaal, the son of Nebat, that took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Ethabal, king of the Zidonians, and went and served Baal and worshipped him. Right? So when we look that up, right? Her father was King Ethabal of Tyre, right? Also a Phoenician king. So she was like a Lebanese, like that's the area of like Lebanon and Syria, right? So, I mean, because you can easily Google it to get a little bit more context, right? It says it's an ethnic group inhabited in the area of modern day Lebanon and parts of Syria, right? But she was through Ethanbal, right? But it doesn't show that she was a Israelite woman whatsoever. So she worshiped Baal, right? We were worshiping the Most High. She got with Ahab and got him to doing what the Most High told us not to deal with the other women of other countries. She knew the actual laws of our people. That's the reason why she was able to say, let's do a fast and all of this. She was trying to keep up with trying to stay strategic about trying to get this land for Ahab. But it shows right there what she was in verse 31. Right? So again, I hope that answers your question. Right? It does not show that she was an Israelite. Does that answer your question, Jake? If you're telling me that she was an Israelite, does that answer your question? We just went into the scripture showing she was King Ethabal, king of the Zidonians, right? All right, if that answers your question, I'm going to go ahead and end this class, this lesson. If y'all have any other questions before I go? Yeah, and I believe that's it. I guess you don't have any other questions. So, again, all praises, Kahala Yahweh Bahashem, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. I'm a humble servant, Ehud Benaniyah Shirala, the Battle Axes of the Most High, coming to you with another Fervent Friday. Please have a Barak day of preparation. And with that, give a Galawal Shalom.